Today we're going to be looking at a lesser known pocket of resistance to the Reformation, a very secretive cult that at one time was rife throughout Wales, but which gradually died out in most parts. But we have here in the village of Porthkerry some evidence of it not only having a strong grip, but of it having lasted in this area for up to 200 years after the Reformation.
We need to remember that the Reformation did not affect people in a uniform manner. There were obviously those who were immediately welcoming of it. It was something that related to their ideas and to their beliefs and to the style of worship they want to pursue. The overwhelming majority of people just went along with it because being seen to oppose the king and the king's desires was a surefire way to get yourself arrested and executed. Then, in extreme cases, you had the people who were completely resistant to the idea and who completely refused to conform and go along to the new church. But what we have here in Porthkerry is a hybrid. This wasn't people who outwardly refused to cooperate and to reform. These were people who, on the surface of it, went along with the Act of Supremacy and went along with the new Reformed Church, but who in secret would gather and have their own style of worship. In Porthkerry in particular, they were not afraid to make themselves known and to broadcast their presence to appeal to like-minded fellow worshippers. What looks like quite an innocuous mark carved onto the door, for example, is actually a cult sign, a way of announcing that this is a place where cult members are present. Now, this tomb has a telltale mark in the top left-hand corner in the form of this rosebud. Again, another cult symbol. What we have here is what was known as the Marian cult, and they defined themselves as a pious movement of worshippers dedicated to the Virgin Mary. That probably poses a few more questions that we really need to answer.
Now, the Marian cult was generally made up of ordinary people, people who were stonemasons or carpenters. They had one really big overriding problem with the Reformed Church, and that was the downgrading of devotion to the Virgin Mary. In the old church, the Catholic Church, she was a central part of worship. But by 1552, the Book of Common Prayer was reduced to just 3 mentions of her, and for many, this was just seen to be too radical.
So they pursued a style of worship where the Virgin Mary had a more central role, just like it had been in the old church. This was something that got them branded as heretics, which is why they went underground and operated this clandestine, secretive cult, where they would still meet to worship, but they had to do so under cover of darkness, in woods and hiding places like that. We're seeing a clue on this particular card about what some of the symbols meant that I've been showing you a moment ago. So let's look at a bit more depth at those symbols and at what they mean, and the significance, as we see in this particular card, of the rosebud. Well, the rosebud is traditionally associated with fertility, but this particular one has petals that form 2 M's for Mary, a theme that crops up again with the engraving on the door. What looks like a W is in fact 2 V's to suggest Virgin of Virgins, but if inverted is of course Mary, again showing devotion. Possibly the most staggering thing about these engravings, however, is that the one on the door is dated 1790. The Act of Supremacy was passed in 1524. This means that the Marian cult here in Porthkerry had outlived its counterparts elsewhere in the country by many, many years. The Marian cult did enjoy something of a revival in the 18th and 19th centuries with the rise of the Oxford movement, an attempt by scholars of various university colleges in Oxford to introduce more Roman Catholic thought and practice into the Church of England. But that had very little to do with what was going on here.
So look, I really hope you've enjoyed this video, all about the Marian cult and the mark that it left here in Porthkerry. If you want to read more around this subject, then it's covered in this book, which is Legends and Folklore of Bridgend and the Vale. It's also a good read if you're interested in history and folklore and legends, all based in the South Wales area. And that is also what this YouTube channel is all about. If you're interested in hidden history on your doorstep here in South Wales, from Monmouthshire to Glamorgan and further afield, then please subscribe to this channel, look out for future videos. Hopefully always going to be something there of interest. But look, until the next time we meet, please enjoy your history.